Welcome to my first video tutorial. Let's get straight into it and add the mesh that we're going to be building on. Cylinder with 16 faces on X, 64 on Y, setting a subsurf for later modification and level 1. Throughout the video, whenever I've made any changes, the videos are going to pause for a moment and those changes are going to pop up in text. Okay, now we've got our mesh. We want to rotate our mesh on the y-axis by 90. Next, add a curve path. Once the path has been created, rotate it 90 on the x-axis. Later on, when we're bending the mesh, if you find it starts to twist badly when you double back on yourself, chances are you missed this part out. I like to name my modifiers, then copy and paste that name over into the object. That way it avoids any typos. Left click the mesh to select it. Now we're going to add the curve modifier to the mesh. Select the curve from the modifiers, then add the path name to the curve modifier. Clicking anywhere outside of the modifier tab will activate the mesh to the path modifier. Now right click the path to select it, go down to the path tab and activate curve stretch. Right, that's our mesh and path all set up and linked together, ready to go. Now let's organize our workspace with the top view and the front view. I'm just trying to balance out my two windows so I've got an even view of both views. If you're wondering why occasionally on my mouse there's a little green halo or a little green blob appears, well, the green halo means that I've left clicked and the green blob means that I've right clicked. Great, that's everything set up now. It's time to start doing some modeling. So tab into edit mode and select a handle, then G to grab it and start stretching the cylinder, pressing the E key every so often to extrude the path and leave a handle behind. Okay, it's pretty much going to be a bit of repetition of the same thing now, so I'm going to speed things up. To make my endless knot, I've pretty much figured out it's two loops that are intertwined in each other, so I'm drawing out two overlapping loops. When the ends are close to each other, press the C key and that'll join the two ends together. Right, now with the loops completed, it's time to tidy them up. Of course you can grab more than one handle at a time and move them around. With a couple of handles selected, you can use the S key to resize them. Use the R key to rotate them. Okay, let's start using top view now also and start to make this more of a three-dimensional object. I like to select my handles over in the front view window, then move them by grabbing the green arrow, the y-axis, in the top view window. At first it can be a little bit confusing when you're jumping back and forth between the front view and the top view, especially when you're grabbing a handle in the top view and moving it, so which direction it's actually going in. But hey, keep playing with it, you'll get a feel for it real quick. Okay, for the purpose of this tutorial, I think I've shown you all I need to get you started using the curve path modifier. So now let's add the modifier to the mesh. If you need to do any further tweaking, now's the time to do it. And it's just like working with a sculpt mesh as you normally would. But I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to move on and bake. So in your side window, select the UV editor, up to render, bake sculpt mesh, and give it a standard bake. Now save off your sculpt map, and let's go in world and check out our results. Remember, we were working with a cylinder, so let's stitch it as one. Stitching as a torus will also work. Thanks to one of the members of the Blender users group in SL for pointing this out to me. Volks, I think your name was. Sometimes I just can't see the wood for the trees. Anyway, as you can see, the final sculpt stands up to the LOD pretty well. Enjoy. So that's all, folks. I hope you've learned something from it. Yeah, it's just a blob you've created, but with a little bit of creativity in there, I'm sure you can make some fun and funky stuff out of it. This has been Slimer sharing some Blender love with you all. Have fun now. Bye.